Dobry wieczór, comrades. During my play of Genshin Impact, I heard that many people started whaling in it and paid a ton for the waifus, so to speak. But let us first define the term whaling. In short, it means that a person spends a lot of money for the virtual goods that most mobile games offer. By a lot, I mean at least $100 or $1,000 per month. Now that you have the background info, let us go back to the title of this video. Should you pay in Genshin Impact for the different deals that they offer? Spoiler alert, no, definitely not. But let us look at it a bit closer and rationalize our stance. Generally, when you buy something, at least a certain amount of value is expected from the purchase. A case example of food. You buy it in order not to die out of hunger, surprisingly. There are some preferences which dictate what you are going to buy the most, such as chocolates, muffins, an already finished dish with the chef's kiss on top of it, or buy just the necessary ingredients and cook at home. One of the main arguments to choose from these options is also the value you are getting out of them. Maybe the dish you can cook will not taste as good as the dish from the master chef, but if you buy it from him, he will also charge you a pretty hefty sum to make a win. If we adjust the variables in our previous statement and say that you can cook really good, almost every dish you cook comes out well, then you might consider making your own dinner, which will cost you the half of what the master chef wants you to give him. In the end, you analyze values of both options and choose the most optimal one, if you are the rational fellow, of course. In the case of the food, you need some kind of it if you want to survive. But let us move forward and talk about clothes, for example. Let's say that there are two types of it, stylish and the normal ones. Just like food, you need to wear at least some kind of an attire, not only because it's cold or hot outside, but because it is socially unacceptable to go outside without any clothes in most countries. But then again, should you buy the normal ones or the stylish ones? The answer to that question can be defined just like previously with the food. The value can also be something that isn't materialistic, such as social acceptance, happiness, feeling of security, and so on. On top of these kinds of purchases, there are also goods, items that you don't need for your survival, that we can call luxury goods. If you have them, they may bring you some kind of a positive value, but generally you have to pay for them more than they are worth. A simple case of a wooden and a gold chair. Even though they bring the same kind of objective value, the gold one will always cost more than a wooden chair. What does the gold chair bring you outside of the objective value? Well, people will know that you have a lot of money, Some of them may even become nice just because of this fact. Some of them may even think that you are kind of a dumb person, since who the hell buys a golden chair? I don't. And most of the people also don't. Only some of the rich people purchase these kinds of items. And we all do like such pretentious individuals, don't we? I'm getting sidetracked here. Let us then apply the same kind of formula to Genshin Impact. First, let us make a notice of everything that is possible to buy in the game. First up are two things that are possible to be bought through real money: monthly card and the battle pass. After those two come the Genesis crystals that you also buy with real money. You can use them for a couple of offers that are in the store, but most of the people will turn them into primogems and use them to get more in-game characters or weapons. Now, let us find the value of each of them, starting from the worst in my opinion. The Genesis Crystal Pack of $109.99. Let's just say $110. 1 cent won't ruin me. And let us take the first buyer's bonus out of the equation, since it only applies once on the first purchase. For the $110, you can get 6,480 crystals. You can use this to buy gifts, but most of the people won't do that. Instead, they will turn them into primogems and wish for the characters, as I've said before. And for this much gems, you will be able to wish for 40 times. The drop rate of the 5-star character is 0.6%, less than 1%, which means that you getting a 5-star character, not to mention a couple of them with your 40 wishes, is very low. Only overly lucky players get 5-star characters during their first 20 wishes. Now let us summarize. If you buy Genesis crystals for $110, then there is a high chance that you won't be getting a 5-star character for it. This means that you will waste $110, since you won't be getting any value that you wanted. The argument can be made that you will still be getting something. Isn't that enough for it to have value? Well, sadly, no. If I go to the supermarket and I pay $10 for something, I pay this much because I know that I will get at least the half of the value that I paid for the item. But in our case, I'm not even getting the item. In order for me to get the item that I want and should have the value in my transaction, I have to pay more than $220, and this much only for one 5-star character. At this point, we have to also deduce the value of the 5-star character. On the gameplay side of the things, these characters should make the big difference, right? Well, not entirely, to say the least. For the starters, the game is not very hard, if you get the gist of it. Hardest content is the spiral abyss, which you can clear with only the starting characters, if you play your cards right. For that, there are a lot of videos on YouTube you can check out. The 5-star characters are not that necessary. They may make the whole game easier, but the cost for that is at least $220, which in my opinion is the worst value. You know what you could have done with that much money? Buy a couple of games with waifus, where you don't have to pay for every single one of them in order to get them. The other Genesis Crystal offers boil down to the same result. You pay money without getting much value from them. This means that you should never, ever buy Genesis Crystals. It's just not worth it. The next one is the monthly card for $550, which nets you 2,700 Primogems in a month and gives you 300 Genesis Crystals too. This is pretty much the best deal you can spend your money on, if you want to, since it gives you the half of the most pricey Genesis Crystal pack amount for only $5.50. Plus, it ties with the gameplay, since you will be playing Genshin Impact and accumulating these gems in-game too. The monthly card also does not guarantee the 5-star character. This means that this card also does not provide any value, only a chance to get some kind of value. With this kind of analysis, none of the in-game offers give you any value, only a very low chance to get the item you want, and in the end you won't even be getting what you want specifically. But I have to say that if you truly want to get a large amount of Primogems, this is probably the best deal, which also trains your patience. At least there is some non-monetary benefit to it. There is only one offer that is worth something, which is Battle Pass, and I will explain why. Simply put, when you pay for it, you get exactly what you signed up for: money, experience, and such, plus a bit of the Primogems, but those aren't much. Is it necessary? No. I will boil it down to the luxury good, since in order to get stronger in the game, you don't need it. It will just hasten your character development, so only pay for it if $11 won't ruin your life. In conclusion, only the Battle Pass has an objective value behind it. The Primogems from the Genesis Crystal can get that much value too, if you use them to get the same kind of the items and don't spend on wishes. We can say that buying extra Primogems with real money will only serve as a luxury good, since you don't need them, or extra characters, or maxed out constellations of them, or every weapon that exists in a game. Just take it slow, and you will get some of them, and trust me, you only need some of them. If you get everything, then there won't be anything for you to do anymore in a game. Since one of the important goals in a game is to collect as much waifus or husbandos you want, everything that is possible to buy in this game is just a luxury good, sometimes even less than that, since most of the time it will not guarantee its value that you supposedly pay. The main reason behind it being the fact that you don't need any of them in order to progress your journey. On top of that, the game is not competitive, it's only single player, and sometimes multiplayer if you want it, but you don't have to play it like this. So Why would you want to get stronger faster? There isn't anyone to compete against. Just do the stuff in your own pace. But let us say that you bought everything. You know what would happen in the end? The game will end. And in the case of the Genshin Impact, that can only be played online, when MiHoYo will stop its support of the game, you won't be even able to play the game anymore. Even after you pay a ton of money in it. It's not like Persona 4 or Darksiders, which you can play in single player, without any internet connection. This is one of the most important reasons not to pay anything in-game, or at least not that much. In the nature of all things, even digital games such as Genshin Impact will end someday, and when that fateful day will arrive, you will realize how much money you have lost to the game. But let us find at least some positive things out of all this. One of the only positive things that a gacha game can teach us is the fact that you won't be able to get everything in life. Sometimes just go with the flow and make use of the tools you're given. Be patient. Trust me, the life will come around eventually. So, this was it for the video. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. It will definitely make me happy. Thank you for listening to the silly ramblings of this one. Till next time, farewell.